next? Let's go with this one.
This was on my list of most anticipated games coming out at the fair.
Look at it. That's the reason. Look at that. It's like a wooden staircase splay the pieces thing. It looks like a Rolodex.
Kids, look it up. These existed. Unfortunately, the piece for this stairs, as cool as that is, could have used one small addition of maybe a place for the steps to stop.
Yeah.
Like where you just open it, it's done. You actually have to kind of mess with it a bit to make sure the steps are all kind of the same size.
You do, and they don't need to be the same size, but they need to all be usable. And it's a tricky. You'll fiddle with this quite a bit before you start, and then after you get going with the game, which is again, this company generally makes fun, interesting, generally two-player abstract games, like Perfect Information abstract games. We spread it out, we set it all up, and we're like, oh, this looks really cool. Put the pieces out, and then we realize this is like a roll and move type game.
And it requires more than 2 players.
It's kind of Parcheesi, in which you pick a piece, you roll the dice. If you land on somebody else, you knock them back, or you knock yourself back if you roll something you don't want. There's a dragon dropping eggs, but it really doesn't happen a whole lot. You're mostly just rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, trying to get up here.
But there's no real impetus to how you play the game. If you have 3 people on the same step, you knock off the first person who has come there.
Right.
So you do it, but you don't get to choose. So you mentioned Parcheesi. With Parcheesi, you roll dice and then you decide which of your pieces to move. This game has a really weird rule that you point to the piece first.
Yeah.
Then you roll the die. I don't know what I'm going to roll, so it's really random. They talk about push your luck. Like, well, you could pick the highest piece and then they'll fall down farther. But that's going to happen anyway.
Right.
There's no reason to not pick your highest pieces or whatever and then hope the eggs come and then I'm behind you. And this was a really big disappointment for me. This one here is like a 4. And that's with the nice pieces and everything. It just doesn't... It's so lucky. But it's not lucky in like a silly way. Mm-hmm. I think it's meant to be lucky, like there's a dragon flying and people falling down the stairs. And honestly, if the game had a mechanism where you tip the person and they rolled down the stairs, I'd probably give it a 1 point higher because that would be funny. Like a ball bouncing down the stairs or something. But there's none of that here, and this feels like they found the gimmick of the stairs and said, well, we can produce this, and then made the game. It's not abstract strategy. It's like a Hasbro Child's Toy game.
Yeah, it really... Maybe there's some indicator on the box that I don't see that explains, that visually should tell me, like, hey, this is really for little kids. It's a 6+, 3 to 6 players. But to me, it was the only fun I had with this game was laughing at the game. Yeah, and we had some good laughs, but it was all not because of the game. It was directly at the game. Yeah. This one gets a 3 from me. Woo. It's really not something I can recommend, especially because it's probably a fairly expensive toy to find. Just get Chutes and Ladders, honestly. Like, you're not missing anything. Get Parcheesi if you want to try an old world game. This is not something I can recommend. You're going to spend a lot of money on something that looks really cool. Unless you want to buy this and, like, display it, and then you're not buying a game. You're buying a piece of, decoration. This is not a game you should pursue. Yeah, 3 for me.
That is Drachentreppe, I think it's called.
That is Drachentreppe.